Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today is Monday, and you know what that means. It means it's mailbag, and boy oh boy do we have some mail. We also have some Wi-Fi issues, it appears, because Clark was meant to be here at the start of this show, and he's currently having some Wi-Fi issues. Hopefully, he'll be joining us in just a little bit. But someone who is here is the Tuesday Night Delight, a day early. Shad, throw those twos up. How are you?
Everybody in the comments, throw your deuces up. I am good, Ben. I am here on a Monday. I've been here a couple Mondays in these last couple weeks, so it's been nice. I love Mailbag Monday. I love going on a different tangent and answering questions that you, the fans, provide us because I ain't gonna lie, y'all be asking some pretty wild and cool questions. And we got some great questions on the docket today, so I'm excited for it, man. Let's get into it.
Absolutely, I'm hyped as well. And also joining us, we have Jordy. How are you, Jordy?
Mate, it's my first Monday. It's my first Monday.
Hey,
I'm
first
usually,
mailbag.
yeah, yeah, that's it, isn't it? You thought it's the mail day. I thought we'll bring the biggest mail we've got, and here I am. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited because usually Tuesdays and Saturdays I'm reviewing, and yes, there's an element of discussion to it, but I'm excited to more discuss things, talk about hypotheticals, talk about things that aren't just talking about what happened a night ago. Do you know what I mean? So I'm excited for today.
No doubt about it. It is one of the funnest shows of the week. I think, it often gets talked about here at Wrestling Republic. Everyone wants to be on these mailbag shows, apart from Clark's Wi-Fi, it seems. But, I mean, let's just jump head first.
He must have moved where Chaos was living yesterday.
He's gone up into the mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, in the middle of nowhere. First question. We have one from Phoenix Suns 999, who's asking, well, not asking, he's got a statement. He's saying Damian Priest will cash in at WrestleMania. Well, we're going to reword that a little bit, and we're going to ask, will Damian Priest cash in on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania? Shad, give me your thoughts.
So I had to think long about this, and I thought this could have been the possibility with the iteration of Drew McIntyre's storyline of him kind of being the guy who, is kind of raging against the machine, turning heel, being more logical in my mind, but saying like, you guys didn't, give me an opportunity to have my chance. Like I never got that real opportunity as a champ, and him finally getting the opportunity at Mania, becoming champ, for him to only get, screwed over by Damian Priest cashing in. Initially, I thought that was gonna be the way to go, but I've actually changed my mind. I don't think he's gonna cash in at Mania. We still got a little bit of time till the Money in the Bank, so his contract isn't expiring. Just at Mania, you can still prolong it a little bit. But I just think this iteration of Drew is too good. I would not make him a babyface, because Damian Priest is a heel. Ultimately, I think Drew would want to get a comeuppance and feud with Damian Priest if he did take the title off of him and cashed in. But I think we have a lot of meat on the bone with a heel Drew McIntyre as champion. Tonight's going to be a very marquee moment because Mr. CM Punk returns. I think you can pencil that as an initial feud for Drew McIntyre out the gate, right?
Oh,
Drew,
absolutely.
Drew and Punk possibly like for a SummerSlam or something like that. Like that's a main stage like
Mhm.
main event type of match. To be honest with you, so I don't think he is gonna cash in at Mania. My question is this though: do we really want him to cash in at this point? Like
Oh,
I feel like the expiration date of us being, for Damian Priest to be the champion has expired within itself. They've prolonged this briefcase holding a little too long. Some will even question that he shouldn't have even been the one to win at Money in the Bank. Uh, is
agreed.
the same thing. We there's other viable people that should have possibly won, and I don't know. It's tricky for me because Damian Priest is a guy I do like a lot. I think he's a excellent worker. I think he's an excellent character as well, but he's just knocked down a peg of who I would rather see champ. I'd rather see Drew have the championship. I'd rather see Punk be potential champion. I'd rather see
Mm.
Sami Zayn be a champion. The
Mhm.
interest of me seeing Damian Priest as a main event champ is not really there, you know. And this is gonna sound bad because I was bashing it for a while. I wouldn't be mad if he cashed it on another title, like a mid card title, just
Oh.
because mid card titles hold a little bit more weight to it now. And maybe that's just me being selfish because I just don't want him to be champ. I think it would be stupid if he would become cashing in on a mid card title, but I know Gunther made that title feel important. Why not cash in on Gunther or something like that? It makes Gunther still look
Oh.
strong. So yeah, I don't know.
That I mean, that would certainly be an interesting. I mean, I almost could see them doing that, to be honest, Shard. But the other option, of course, is Cody Rhodes finishes his story and then Damian Priest breaks his heart. Jordy, do you reckon that could happen?
No, surely not. I think it has to. If it's gonna go for a world title, I think it has to be Seth and Drew. I think getting himself involved in that match is what is potentially quite possibly looking like is going to be a brawl between multiple people, not just two. So like there's a chance you're gonna
Infinity
get
War.
lost in. Yeah, you're gonna get lost in amongst all that. In an ideal cash-in situation, you want it to be two people, one of them down, and that being the one that you're gonna go and cash in on, probably. So, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think. I think if he does cash in at Mania, I don't think it's gonna go well. I think if it is, they're going to give us that shock moment, and we're all going to be thinking, no, please, no, don't do this to Drew. And then he'll kick him in the face. And maybe I had a similar thought, what Souls mentioned in the comments there, that maybe Finn will have something to do with it. I don't know. But I just think that I agree with Shad. I think, and I did say this a couple of weeks ago, I think that there's a possibility that when we look at this now, giving Damian that briefcase has done nothing but hinder him. I think it's taken away from his tag reign. I think because of the tag reign, it could have been better, but because you've got the briefcase looming over it and thinking, when is he going to cash that in? It's kind of taken away of what could have been a very solid reign with two very solid people in Finn and Priest. I think they are both great. I think they do work well together. And I just haven't ever really felt that bothered about their tag reign. And I think having that briefcase there maybe has had something to do with that, because having him fail the cash-ins as well, not just hold it, but fail cash-ins time and time again, doesn't do anything for us wanting Damian to win when he's a heel. Like if he was a face, maybe you'd be like, when is he going to get his chance uninterrupted to cash this in? But because he's a heel and he's associated with Dom, it's like, well, yeah, because Dom's always been a part of that failed cash-in, so we're going to enjoy it going wrong.
Gosh,
yeah,
you're right. You are right.
It's chaotic, man. That I don't think. I heard that there's a possibility that he got that briefcase given to him. The decision was made on the night, and I think that would make I completely believe that because of how it's transpired since he got it. And yeah, I said a few weeks ago, I think it should have. If we could be in the same situation we are now, with Logan having carried that briefcase and cast it on Rey Mysterio, which kind of makes more sense. Yeah, it's a mid-card title, but it's his first gold. It's a US title, and he's taken it off Rey Mysterio, who he's had beef with in the past. So it kind of would made a little bit more sense. Maybe even had Dom get involved with it, because
so that would have been better.
That lays a bit more. Yeah. And then we'd just be where we are now, but Damian wouldn't have a purple briefcase, and we're all thinking, what are you going to do with that? Like, when are you going to use it? So yeah,
sell a few more of them first, make up for the fact that they had to create. That's why he's not cashed it in yet. He needs to sell more of them. Truth's not made enough sales. We have a few comments here. We have David Martin, a failed cash in. He's not a fan of because we've had a few botched cash-ins lately. That is true. But he does want Roman to beat Cody Rhodes night 2. Well, you're not the only one, David, because so does this man. We're bringing in Clark. Clark, you're back. Your Wi-Fi is recovered.
Here's all I'm saying is if you work at Cox Cable in Southern California this afternoon, strap up if you're in customer service, because it's going to be a long day for you. Pack a lunch. This is ridiculous, absurd. I would be super ready for the call from CT this afternoon if I was you over at Cox Cable. Also, shout out though, guys. You did a great job of making sure we were able to watch all of the shows this weekend. But this is going to be a tough 3:00 phone call. That's all I'm saying.
Oh gosh. Well, my question out of the gates for you is, well, will Damian Priest successfully cash in at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania?
You had to throw that caveat in because I didn't get to hear what hardly anyone got to say other than the back end of Jordy's, and he was agreeing with Shad, so I did miss that. So I've got a unique. What
was I agreeing with?
Obviously, I don't even know. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm like, I'm coming into this question completely blind, and you threw in that successful caveat. The answer is successful. No. Will he attempt to? Yes. How he unsuccessfully cashes in, I'm not entirely sure about, but I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of shenanigans. I think this may be one of the most shenanigan-filled manias we ever see, which is something I'm excited about. I love shenanigans. I'm a big fan of shenaniganery.
Unless it's with your Wi-Fi.
Shenaniganery. Is that
great
word? Did I just make up a word?
Yeah, I like it.
Either way, I'm just saying, I am a huge fan. I'm in for it. Whether it's Rollins that re-robs him or Balor's involvement. I heard earlier, actually, now I just connected those dots in my head. That may have been something that was said. Finn Balor maybe
Soul said
involved in this. Soul in the comments. There you go. I'm like, see, I'm catching up. I'm back. I'm fully back. I don't think Priest successfully cashes in. No, but do I think he makes the attempt? Yes. I think it's time to stop it with that. As far as him carrying the briefcase, they've sold enough of the purple ones. To your point, Ben, I do hear where you're coming from there. But here's my other problem is with the Money in the Bank briefcase, it's only really effective for giving someone the rub if executed properly. It did not benefit Otis. It did not benefit Baron Corbin. It didn't benefit Damian Sandow, right? We can name a bunch that it did
Theory
benefit.
as well. Austin Theory.
Oh, goodness gracious sakes alive. He decided like the king of I don't like mid-card titles, of course, is the one that mentions Theory, the guy that cashes in for a mid-card title and still fails.
It was
got his reign back.
You can't bury a guy worse.
The thing was,
he did fail. Of course, he failed.
This was the biggest downfall as well. When he got his belt back that time, and then him having that belt back made him get verbally destroyed by Cena, and I think that ruined his career. I think he never he
won the
match. Come back.
He won the match versus Cena, but lost the war.
The turning point though that ruined his career. If we're gonna talk ruining Theory's career, I've repeated it a million times on the show, and I'll say it one more time. The baby oil segment with Bobby Lashley is the worst segment I've ever seen.
I agree, though.
In the main event spot of Monday Night Raw, it's the worst segment ever.
I also think I said this on the show with Anthony. I think it was yesterday, the day before. I actually think that genuinely the way, despite the fact that was when he was the most interesting, I actually think that's done the most damage because now a lot of people view him as a comedy character because of it. I feel like that did a lot of harm as well.
Golden egg
I've got
too.
Pardon?
The golden egg.
Oh no, that was
Oh,
then the cherry
goodness.
on top debut and pretty much like that. But
The gift.
I do have an opinion to right, and I think you're all wrong and I'm right because I am predicting that the night before at the NXT Premium Live event, I am predicting Thursday night or Friday afternoon, whenever it is, that Damian Priest is going to cash in on the NXT Championship. And I predict that prediction of mine is wrong because he's actually going to cash in on Friday Night SmackDown, the night before WrestleMania, on Roman Reigns. But I predict that prediction is also wrong. So I predicted both my predictions are also wrong.
Whoa.
Because on the first night, WrestleMania night 1, he's going to try and cash in on one of the singles titles, but that prediction will also be wrong. And then on night 2, you guys see where this is going. My prediction is that I'm going to predict all the cash-ins incorrectly because that's what I've done every premium live event this year, and every premium live event, I've got it wrong.
So is he gonna? So he's gonna cash in night 2.
No.
He's never gonna cash in.
Never, because he's gonna cash in whenever I don't predict it. So
Okay.
from
By
now
the
on,
way,
I'm
if we are
predicting
gonna
every show.
get him good, honestly, this is kind of funny. What if he's like the first one that accidentally runs out the clock? Like he
might
forgets.
He might look cash in. He might look.
I got
cash
him cashing in on Monday night after Mania on Gunther.
The year
Book it.
expires and he just
I
forgot.
predict that too, Shad, which now means it won't happen. Sorry.
He's like, dang it, it's Money in the Bank week. I got to cash in now. And they're like, dude,
I think he
It's
cashed
too
in
late.
on Gunther.
clock
it
ran
actually
out
expired last week.
last week.
It's a calendar year, not a WWE calendar year.
Yeah.
But on that note, let's move on. And Clark, I want to talk to you about, listen, we got some tribalistic comments here because Enforcer.17 is asking, will AEW be a real competitor to WWE or just another TNA? Clark, what is your thoughts? I'll let you do the honors on this one.
I am so happy I got this question because the answer is they are absolutely the most legitimate, financially speaking, challenger brand that we have had since WCW. And the difference between this and WCW is Ted Turner had a vendetta against Vince McMahon and no passion for wrestling. Say what you want about Tony Khan. He is passionate about professional wrestling. He enjoys the product. He was at WWE shows throughout the 2010s, all the time backstage, handing out Jaguars gear, loving every bit of the product. He's not anti-WWE in the way that Ted Turner was. He's pro wrestling. And that's the difference here. And financially, he can compete to a level that no one we've seen since has been able to, especially not TNA. I wish they could. Early TNA was outstanding work, but financially, there was no realm of competition against WWE. They were going to be outbought. They were going to be in smaller arenas. They were going to be in smaller venues. They were going to have to charge more than necessary on pay-per-views. EW doesn't have to do that. That does not mean that they're going to start winning weekly or beating them now or anything like that. That is not what I'm saying. Don't get confused here. But as a challenger brand, Uber has a Lyft now. Coke has a Pepsi now. Nike's got an Adidas now. That's what AEW can be in a way that no other company we've seen in not just one decade, not just 2, but 3. Truly, truthfully.
Yeah.
Since Turner owned his own network and put the product on his own network, literally just to chase Vince for 83 weeks. Once he beat him, that was the finish line. The finish line isn't catching WWE for Tony Khan. This is what he wants to do for the rest of his life because he's passionate about the business. Whether you like him or not, that's just the truth. As a promoter,
that is the truth.
He loves professional wrestling. He does. It's why he left the NFL. He left a very cozy NFL job, like a very good one, to run AEW. And he still does it, right? That's
I don't think he's left. Yeah.
Well, it can't possibly be as full-time as it was given his other responsibilities.
He claimed. I know he claimed.
He still has a position there
at all.
And
he claimed that it wouldn't change his
contributions
all,
to analytics, his contributions to analytics in the NFL are something that are often overlooked. He was unbelievable in that role. He's a smart dude. He's successful on his own in ways that he doesn't get credit for. And I say what you will again about Tony Khan, drama wise, all the other stuff. He's passionate about this business. He has the pockets deep enough to make a run to compete. And he's going to try to compete in every avenue he can. He's on cable. He's on streaming as much as he can be. They're going to keep working towards it. He's going to keep spending money on the roster. He's going to keep spending money to revamp the stages. He's going to keep trying until it's not over, until it's over, right? There's we can't bury AEW yet or even close. It's way too early in the deal. It's way too early.
Right? I don't think. The answer is I know. I don't actually disagree with anything you said, Clark, but I think the answer is no. Will it be a real competitor to WWE? No, I think it'll be. I mean,
would you consider
what I'm about to say? I don't say much, by the way, but I agree with Sol here. He's saying no, they will never be a competitor to the WWE.
Would you
they are an
consider
alternative.
Lyft a competitor to Uber?
Yes, but also
but they've never passed them.
They've never passed.
It's been like 15 years. Like this is not. These aren't new concepts. What about Coke and Pepsi? Well, how about Nike, Adidas?
Yes, because they are.
Those are competitors.
Both of those,
and neither have ever passed the other. Like the big dog has never been passed, but they're still competitors.
Closer, way closer, way closer.
Ooh, I think you're overestimating the reach.
As hardcore wrestling fans, I don't think we realize like how much smaller AEW is because we're in the bubble.
It's
almost everyone knows what WWE is, right? Very few people know what AEW is, but that doesn't mean AEW can't be a hugely successful business and long term become more well known. But truly, a real head-to-head competitor.
Same issue we had with everyone that was a challenger brand when they introduced themselves, though, was that you're going after the big dog and reach-wise, you can't catch the reach. Even if you can catch them financially, you can't catch their reach right away. It's only been 5 years. I'm telling you, man.
Maybe in 50 years it could be different. It truly could be, but anytime
too early.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see, Clark. In 50 years' time, on an episode of the Daily Broadcast, we'll evaluate the business. Mark the date. 50 years.
Close.
You know, I really hope they genuinely are as well. That'd be delightful.
Analytically, why they take Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson? Them analytics don't mean nothing.
Well, the one thing I will say is
I think Trayvon Walker's a better player.
It depends. It's just defining the word competitor.
We'll talk off air on that. He's not better than Aiden Hutchinson.
Right now, they're competing for the same free agent signing.
Okay.
So are they not
I agree
at that point because somebody is going to go and sign with someone else over them? So, like, are they not competing for it? Like, how do you define a competitor? Because, like, Okada, Ospreay, Mercedes, where would they go if AEW didn't exist? They wouldn't have a competitor. They wouldn't have to compete to sign these.
Yeah, but would they have gone for them if that was the case? I think with Ospreay they would have, but I honestly don't know elsewhere. There'll always be competition within a business.
So wait a minute, did you just say that AEW may have forced WWE's hand as far as signing talent in some way by competing?
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, Clark.
Is that what you just said?
I'm actually gonna clarify myself here. It depends which way you like Jordy said. It depends which way you want to describe competitor. The way the question was asked was blatantly meaning WWE, WCW,
and then they said TNA
competitor he said, or will they just be like another TNA? Which I don't think they will be either. To be crystal clear on that,
Right,
we're gonna not redefine competitor.
Also, WWE wasn't publicly traded when WCW and WWE happened.
They are within the same industry, but no, I don't think they're going to be head-to-head competitors anytime soon, right? So, like I said, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Clark, but I think I don't quite believe. I don't believe that they're going to go head-to-head. I really don't. But what I do believe is that you guys can find us on any platform really easily because of our great partnership with the guys over at Next Level, because you can find all our links to all our platforms all in one link, right? You don't have to search us up on all the different ones, all in one link. And that link is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms linked in one place. Also, you have until midnight Eastern today to enter the giveaway for WrestleMania Night 2 tickets, plus Raw after WrestleMania tickets, plus a hotel for the weekend. I mean, guys, you've got to get in on this action. No doubt about it. Only a few hours left of this giveaway.
9 hours and
Completely
33
free.
minutes if you're on the West Coast. You got 9 hours and 33 minutes. Hustle. Sign
Yes.
up.
Go for it. Go for it. No doubt about it. I mean, on any coast, it's the same time. It's 12 p.m. Eastern universally. No matter what you're on, whatever the
It's 12
conversion
Eastern?
is. Yeah.
That means
12
you have
Eastern.
6 hours and 33 minutes. It's not
Right.
9. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Okay. Clark spreading fake news. But no.
6 hours and 33 minutes if you're on the West Coast. We got it.
Yeah, 12 p.m. Eastern, and tonight you can, not 12 p.m., 12 a.m. Eastern, and then there we are. But anyway, let's now move on. Let's move on, and I'm going to get Shad, I'm going to get you in, because I want to talk about WrestleMania XL, not next.
Extra large.
But let's now
Next
move
level,
on.
baby.
Let's. Yes, absolutely. Because we have a question from. Oh, right. Okay. So, I'm so bad with names, guys. I'm so sorry. Idil Dar Ahmed is asking who is more likely to turn on their partner at WrestleMania 40, Rock or Seth? Now, Shard, which one do you think is more likely?
I would, if I was a betting man, which I'm not betting because it is the holy month of Ramadan, and that'd be
Hey.
sinful. But if I was to make a wager on it, I would have to pick Mr. Dwayne Johnson, and I'll tell you why. I think there's two outliers. The first outlier is that match is happening night one, right?
Hmm.
Night one of Mania. I feel that if it was reversed somehow, or if Seth didn't wrestle on night two where he's the active babyface going against Drew, um, it would have been a more of an opportunity. But I don't see a reason Seth turning on Cody at the moment. I know they have a lot of history. I know they're playing off of it, kind of having that hangover our head. But in regards to the story that's occurring right now, I don't see that being a reason. It would be a cool swerve. I won't lie on that. But I think Seth is going into night two as the babyface, uh, as he's been as a champion, as the fighting champion this whole entire time. The reason I picked The Rock is because I still feel that we are going to lead to a Rock and Roman match later on in the year. And I think it makes more sense, in my opinion, for Dwayne to turn on Roman, whether Dwayne is the heel or whether Dwayne is the babyface, however you want to chop it up. That's the beauty of The Rock right now, is that you can kind of go either direction. Rock is a
He's-
heel, gives you a new dimension of making Roman a babyface, but it's more palatable and not forced like we had back in the day. Or The Rock is so much of a superstar that we love that he can be a babyface again, and that we're gonna cheer for Roman. And if Roman beats him, that's like the final notch on what a dominant tribal chief that he's been. So I do got The Rock turning on Roman. I don't know if it'll be like a big time turn per se. I don't think he's gonna like just walk off on him or it being heel tactics. I think, like I mentioned, I think there's gonna be some sort of friction that's gonna happen on that day one match, whether they win or whether they lose. You'll see a little bump in the road, and I think that's gonna cause the turn on night two.
Oh, I think that could well be very, very possible. Let's see what the comments have to say. David March disagrees. He thinks it's going to be Seth. Maybe that could happen on night two. Maybe he could lose against McIntyre and then turn on Cody in the main event. But
Uh-huh.
Bobby Petito is saying The Rock
That's
is
why Bobby's
the
my
guy.
guy. That's why Bobby's my guy.
On that note, let's now move on to the next question. Jordy, I'm going to bring you in for this one because this next one submitted is from Agree Labas 99. I presume he's born in 1999.
Just made the millennium.
I only just made the reference when I was writing it down earlier. I didn't, but reading it out loud. Great
Snuck in
username,
there.
clever.
Last buzzer beater.
Clever. But he is asking people. It's not. It's another statement. It's not a question. It's a statement. The statement is people don't accept the fact that Roman's reign is the greatest title reign of all time. Well,
pun intended.
Ha. Jordy, what do you think? Is Roman's reign the best reign of all reigns?
You've got to bear with. You've got to Just don't shout at me for this. Don't shout at me for this, right? Because I want to say yes, because I've seen it happen. I've been a part of it, and during Roman's reign was when I started. I made my own wrestling account on Instagram. I started going to live shows again. So I want it to be. But when obviously you give me a heads up that this is what we were going to talk about, I did look at I did a little bit of research, and I think the only comparable one is Hogan to me. I know Sammartino went longer, and I could appreciate that, but I think in terms of kind of just being an almost larger than life character, transcending above and beyond wrestling, I think you're looking at Hogan in terms of time. So I found this thing on Reddit. Luca Listen from 5 months ago. No, listen, I've checked the stats and all the ones that I'm going to look at. How can you tell me, right, that the least defenses Hogan did in a year, least, was 17 in 1986.
Wow.
In 2023, Roman defended it 5 times. How the most defenses for Hogan is 24. The most for Roman is 13. Do you know what I mean? Hogan had 79 title defenses. Roman has had 30. 31 now. 31 now because one was in 2024 against the Fatal 4-Way at the Rumble. Yeah. But when you're looking at them stats, and it's I really want to say yes, because I wasn't there for Hogan, didn't see any of it. Hogan, kind of one of my first references to seeing Hulk Hogan in the full gear was when I watched Rocky, and he was wrestling Rocky in that, and they did a charity match. So I'm I don't know. I want to say yes, I do, and maybe when we look back, because obviously I'm looking at analytics, I'm looking at numbers there. When you look at the numbers that Roman has done, they've surpassed. During Roman's reign, the WWE is hotter than it's ever been in terms of ticket sales. And so there's certainly an argument for it. But when you're looking at an individual performance over an allotted amount of time, and right now Hogan's is still longer. So I'm how can I actually say, Roman's is better, when Hulk Hogan is Roman Reigns isn't a level of Hulk Hogan right now in terms of just the common person knowing, have you heard of Hulk Hogan? Have you heard of Roman Reigns? I don't think, you know what I mean? So maybe time will tell, and when we can look back and look at, but right now, I don't think so, sadly.
Fair enough.
Jordy, but I totally agree.
I mean, I agree with both of you, to be honest. Yeah, it's hard to argue. I mean, the point I guess you can make was the stories during Hogan's, as compelling as some of the stories during Roman's. I mean, I guess that's the argument for it. But when we get to that argument, then there's shorter title reigns, which have had more compelling storylines in.
It is ironic though, if you look at both, you can, if you're trying to be a complete scumbag and just trash the whole thing, which I'm not, and actually but it
sound like you are,
because you can do the whole classic, I've seen enough big boots and leg drops, and I've seen enough Superman punches and spears. It's the same joke, but
that
just
like Clark Spooner
in a 30-year time machine about the guy that's literally carried the belt and carried the company through some of the biggest financial booms And it's laughable to me that we're critical of both of those. Hogan, I get because of some of like the political stuff, but like realistically speaking, like there were some stale times, and like we like to just kind of brush
No,
those
yeah,
under
and
the
part
rug.
of what I said there in terms of the lesser five title defenses in 2023,
Right.
that is part of the reason I think why the product is so hot. So it's hard to be
Same.
like that is a bad thing, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. But then when you compare them two numbers head to head, it's like, well, yeah, how
Yeah.
can I say Reigns was better?
Yeah.
But it's
So,
like
maybe
absence
say-
makes the heart grow fonder. And the other thing
Yeah.
is you're looking at babyface champion, heel champion, and eras wise too. Like this is such an in-depth convo. I thought you covered that perfectly, Jordy. Like because think Hogan in the 80s were craving the good guy hero. That is not what fans are craving right now, except Cody Rhodes, maybe.
Well, you flipped on Cody now, but anyway, I'm only
But,
joking. But
like,
let's
realistically-
get to some of these comments, right? Because we have one from David Marge who's saying Roman should be champion literally forever till he dies, and his reign should go to wrestling heaven. That's taking wrestling heaven and hell to the entire, new level right there. But oh gosh, I personally hope it's done in the next couple of years. And I really do hope Roman lives a lot longer than that. I hope,
Show David's last comment because I love it.
Oh, gosh. Cody
Way too small,
way
yes.
too small to be
Yes.
such a strong
See me
Roman.
cut in half. Too small.
Anyway,
small.
let's now move on. And let's move on to talk about MJF because Jack Taylor Mallet is asking, he's asking if MJF signed to WWE, could he become a bigger and better star than Cody Rhodes? And I'll kick us off on this one. I think if MJF went to WWE, he couldn't be the same face that he's been recently in AEW. I don't think that would get over with a more casual audience like there is in WWE. So I don't think he could be as big of a babyface as Cody Rhodes. But I do still think he could be at the top of the card, a main event level player, but as a heel. I think he could be the opposite to a Cody Rhodes. I think he could be a top heel for WWE. I mean, he's still young. He's 28. We don't know what the future holds for him. We presume AEW, but he's not on their roster page anymore. So who knows? Jordy, I'll kick things off with you. Could he be a bigger star than Cody Rhodes?
I don't think. I feel like I'm always just being like, I don't think so. But like, yeah, with this one, I think Cody, he was at WWE. We saw what he went through with the whole Stardust thing. He went away. And his dad's Dusty. I don't think he maybe is going to be as big of a star, but I think he could definitely, be the biggest heel. I think coming into WWE wouldn't be a bad thing for him. I think obviously like he could just reignite a feud with CM Punk. He could a feud between him and Cody would be great to watch, and they would be incredible. And then you just start looking at every name in that main event picture and thinking, and even outside of the main event picture, can you imagine like MJF and LA Knight in a ring with a microphone in both hands? And like it would be unbelievable. But so I'm so unsure about this, man. I really don't know because I still think he's not leaving AEW. I really don't. But I also kind of, if I was losing MJF, I'd fork out ridiculous money and sign 3 massive signings. So, do you know what I mean? Like, I would do that. I'd be like, I'm losing one of the biggest. So, you know what? I'm going to fill them gaps. And like, so it definitely could. To look at it now and just say it's completely impossible, that's not true. It could be happening, but I would be very shocked if it did. Pleasantly surprised, I guess you could say, but very, very shocked.
Yeah, no, I agree with you bang on there. I mean, Shad, what about you?
I don't think he'd be a bigger star than Cody Rhodes. I think MJF is low-key overrated to a lot of people's eyes, in my opinion. I don't see the big. I think he's an incredible talent. I think he's a big star. I don't think he's just a plug-and-play superstar right out the bat in the WWE. there's things that he needs to get acclimated with going into the WWE. I think a lot of the nuance of MJF is that he is very edgy in a sense. He says a lot of stuff that is kind of against the grain, and a lot of that stuff ain't gonna fly on a TV product that is set for children. You can't use them words that you use. You can't go get cheap heat like you can do over in AEW. Not saying it's bad or nothing. Now, that's AEW's demographic is different. It's more for an adult audience for that reason, and that's perfectly fine. It'd be an adjustment, and it would take some time. I think Cody Rhodes is a guy that understands the business, and I think his style was more suited for WWE than it was in AEW. That's why you saw him have trials and tribulations through his time in AEW compared to him being a plug and play megastar in WWE. I think MJF, I would rather him stay in AEW. I think him kind of fighting tooth and nail and making AEW a more focal point and being the main guy there and being a top star without the WWE machine is better. But y'all have heard me say it before. I was waiting on my watch I don't have on, not on Tiffy time, but I was waiting for him to lose the title because I was getting bored of it. I was waiting for Samoa Joe and waiting for Swerve. I don't think he's bad. This is not me saying he's bad, but I don't see some superstar. I think he'd be I don't see him being like a main stage main eventer in WWE like a Roman or anything like that. I think he'd probably be in a good place. Like he could be kind of where, like you said, like a LA Knight is, or like where like. But I still got guys on that frame that I like better. I like a Kevin Owens more. I like a Sami Zayn more. They do more for me as a wrestling superstar than he does for me. But just my opinion. You don't got to wolf me on that one.
Wow. You buried the man. Absolutely buried him. But what about you, Clark?
So this question is like, and I don't want to knock anybody that submitted a question. It is a statement technically, but like, this is entirely laughable to me. Like, your bias is showing. Your bias is showing. Can he be a bigger star in WWE than Cody Rhodes? What do you mean? If you asked this question when they were both in AEW and Cody was getting booed and the fans were going crazy for MJF a couple of years back, before he debuted against Seth Rollins and had this 2-year run and finished the story and blah, 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 all the corniness. Like, this isn't even a question. They're a decade apart. This is a 38-year-old versus a 28-year-old, an immensely talented 28-year-old in MJF. It doesn't matter which company he's in, where he works. If he wants to go to Hollywood, he can be a bigger star than Cody Rhodes. He could be a bigger star in movies. He could be a better stand-up comedian than Cody Rhodes. He might even be better on the microphone than Cody Rhodes right this second. In fact, he is. He never asked me what I want to talk about, and he always talks about what I would want to talk about. It's one of my favorite things about Maxwell Jacob Friedman, if I'm saying so myself. But it's a silly thing to answer. What are we talking about here? So he goes to WWE and he gets in the system, and then what do they put him through the laundry basket? And then they put him in the dryer, and then they dry him out until it's so stale that we don't like the taste anymore. Knock it off. Knock it off. I understand the stuff about he can't say what he wants to say in WWE, but he can in AEW. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, at 28 years old, as talented as he is, can be a star anywhere in the world he wants to be, whether it's the WWE, AEW, Hollywood, entertainment, acting. It does not matter. That kid can do whatever the heck he wants to do because he's proved it. He's proved it time and time again how talented he is. And the comparison to Cody Rhodes is unfair. Cody Rhodes at 28 years old was wallowing on the indie scene and then building AEW. And we're talking about how he's a better fit for WWE than AEW. He's out there over on. Well, I mean, at the time, we just talked about how big of a difference there is between AEW and WWE. And how big of a difference was there between ROH and WWE at that time?
Park, weren't his scenes
he built from there?
Weren't his scenes cut from the Iron Claw? So
they were. I understand that. I totally understand that. Totally understand that. Now, what I will say though is also he was still invited to the premiere. Yeah, he still got a credit on the movie.
I'm gonna
My
say,
point is
so
more.
MJF helps with
it's
the
a ridiculous comparison between the two.
Second, Clark, because I'm going to defend the follower you just said showed bias in this. It's a completely fair comparison because the big news story this week is MJF's been removed from Shop AEW.
No, that's a dirt
all
sheet
of this
story.
Stuff,
that's a
and
dirt
no, it's
sheet
not.
story.
No, it's not.
It's a
He's
dirt
been
sheet
removed.
story.
He's been removed. AEW.
Oh,
have
you're
the-
kidding me.
No, I think, by the way, I think it's a work, but AEW have removed his stuff from Shop AEW. They
Right.
removed him from the AEW website. That's not dirt sheet. That is fact,
yeah,
right?
that's
That's two hugely different things.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that's the big story this week, and everyone's saying, will he follow in the footsteps of his mentor, Cody Rhodes?
Decade
so I
older.
think it's completely fair question to ask.
It's entirely unfair because it hinges on his moving over to WWE. And that's ridiculous to me. MJF can be a big star no matter where he works, is my point. The guy is
I'll agree on that.
supremely talented, charismatic, really, really good at what he does. So is Cody Rhodes at this point. Took him a little longer to build, right? He was Stardust at 28. You know, MJF at 28 isn't putting on goofy star paint.
He's not being told to either, though.
Exactly.
That's
No,
like,
and I agree. And so if we send him over to WWE,
I don't think the question
who's
is,
to
would
say
he
that he's
come
not
in?
going to be told to? It's a
It's not
different
I don't
era,
think
but
the
it's unfair.
question is,
That's why I
does he
say it's
come
an unfair
in?
comparison.
I don't think the question is, will he come in and instantly be that level? I think the question is, could he become that level? And Clark, I can tell your answer is very firmly, yes, he could be the level of Cody
Totally.
Rhodes. But it's not, I think, I'm defending Mr. Jack Taylor Mallet there on that one. But thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave us a cheeky 5 stars on Spotify. Like, subscribe wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Shad. And thank you to Jordy for joining me here today. We'll be back tomorrow for the Raw review. We will see you guys then. Peace.